Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. What was the most f***ed up thing you saw in school? A kid jumped over the balcony to try and beat the rush on mashed potato day. He broke both his legs, did not get his potatoes. Took me too long to realize mashed potato day is probably just the day your cafeteria serves mashed potatoes, and not some kind of big yearly mashed potato event at your school. Oh man, I wish it would have been a mashed potato event. That would have been so amazing. But alas, no, just plain old mashed potato day. It was every Friday and always a madhouse trying to get down to the cafeteria due to the way the school was set up. There is no way on God's green earth that school cafeteria mashed potatoes were so good that students looked forward to them. What the hell was the secret ingredient? Heroin? A couple f***ing in the dumpster behind the cafeteria. For the rest of the year, people would walk up behind the dude crinkling paper and asking if it was getting him hard *just to add a bit. 4 or 5 of my friends and I stumbled upon this event while we were coming back on campus, and one of them went to throw his trash away. It got around the school pretty damn fast. It's probably a good thing that I'm old enough that the smartphone wasn't a thing when I was in high school, because there's a good shot that one of the group would have been dumb and taken a picture that included a 17-year-old having sex. Like physically in the dumpster, or just behind it in some sort of enclosure, inside the dumpster, where the trash belongs. Our school bully, nasty piece of work we'll call C, ripped the wig off a new student, A, who had recently returned from cancer treatment. They got into it, and A was suspended despite multiple witnesses. We suspect even the teachers were slightly scared of C. Next day as we were leaving, A was waiting outside for the doors to open, comes straight in, grabs C's hair, slams her head into a locker, then proceeds to pull out a huge pair of scissors and violently chops off as much hair as she can before the teachers intervene. She was obviously expelled, but man, she's still my hero. Bully C was definitely put in her place after that and absolutely toned down her torment of everyone else. Wish I knew what became of AskReddit, as some PPL were asking about what happened to C and A, and I'd like to clarify, those are not their names, but I called some old friends tonight to see what we could dig up. We do not know Superhero A's last name, so no info sadly, but I'd like to think she's doing amazing. On to the bully. So there is a reason I couldn't pull up any current info on her, and as I suspected, she did pass away in 2003. This is not cause for celebration, as from what I gleaned from old friends it was a suspected drug overdose. She wasn't a kind person by any means, but she was also dealt a pretty shitty hand, and I feel sad for her and those that loved her. Doesn't excuse her behavior at aged 14 to 17, but I have no interest in bashing her. She was a terror, but she was a product of her environment and didn't stand a chance to make a better life for herself. She died alone aged 26. Who was B? I was desperately waiting for BRUB. Edit. Wow, it's morning and this blew up. I knew I loved Reddit. Haha, no, sorry, I'm not B. C was for Christina and A was for Allison. SP, just too lazy to type out the names. I could try juice up the story and be Ben or something, if that scratches your itch. I had a friend that was allergic to so many things he had to eat the same thing every day that he brought from home. I literally mean every day for years. He had a very bad day, failed a test, some things happened at home. We met up at lunch and he had 2 slices of pepperoni pizza. He told said today seems like a good day to die and proceeded to wolf down both slices. I had never seen him so happy. I walked him to the nurse's office as he ballooned up. He was hospitalized for 2 weeks. He never regretted the decision. I saw the pet teacher getting a heart attack during class and dying. It was f***ing scary. Half the teachers at my school are old, some 80 plus, so it is inevitable that will happen at my school one day. They train all the students how to use a defib and do CPR, which I personally think all schools should do anyway. Edit. Okay, maybe they are actually more like 70, just look older, but still. What are you going to do when your heart stops? I would die. And you're okay with that? I'm okay with the logic of it. Stanley, you crush your wife during sex and your heart sucks. Boom, roasted. Some kid kept shitting in the sink every week, and they had to keep cleaning it up. One day I walked in the bathroom and someone had put shit on the wall. Had some girls in my high school who were creating works of art in the same fashion. They were deemed the fecal phantoms and were never caught. A kid in my school year stabbed one of my friends in the back, not verbally, I mean with an actual kitchen knife. We were 11. When I was 9, someone stabbed another kid in the back with a maths compass, just randomly with no real motive or logic. When I was 9, someone stabbed another kid in the back with a maths compass, just randomly with no real motive or logic. Why do the most violent stories here involve elementary age kids? Cause kids at that age are psychopaths. In first grade, a boy pulled his pants and underwear to below his knees and laid down on his back. Then a girl spat on him. I don't remember why, but I will never forget that sight. 2 fetishes were born on that day. Only 2. I worked at an American school in China a while back. One day, one of the school buses was on the way to campus from the city and there was an accident that students saw. A truck ran over a man riding his bicycle. The students on the bus witnessed the accident and watched as the man lay dying on the road. They were stuck in traffic and couldn't get away from the horrific scene for over 20 minutes. Kids were crying and traumatized. Most of them were elementary school students. There was a lot of grief counseling in the months after that. Wow, were you able to do anything to calm the kids down? Or were you in shock yourself? Yes, many of us were in shock too. Details given by the bus driver just made the whole situation seem even worse. The bus driver was amazing BTW. He helped calm the students down on the rest of the long drive to school. He was fantastic. According to him, the truck driver drove off and no police came for a long time. Bus driver was Chinese and radioed to other buses about the accident and told them to take a different route, and they all monitored to the radio for information about the situation. Anyway, we had some wonderful counselors in the elementary school and our principal and assistant principal stepped in to help as well. The students were more in shock to begin with, rather than openly upset and crying by the time they reached school. Again, thanks to the great bus driver who had a wonderful rapport with the students. Thankfully, there were not many students per bus. I think that bus was one of the larger buses, but it still only had 10 to 12 students. Compared to American buses which hold 40 to 50 students at least. The school did a good job communicating with parents right away, so they knew what happened and got some information about what the school was doing to help. In the end, while all students were monitored on an ongoing basis, only a few showed need for weekly sessions with one of the counselors over the course of the next few months. It was crazy, and I wonder about those kids and what they remember. It had to be scarring, and our scope of care was limited. We just tried to keep them in their regular routine as much as possible and watch for any signs of social withdrawal, etc. A kid clipped the tip of his tongue off with a pair of safety scissors after someone dared him to. One of my brother's friends cut the very tip of his nose off cause someone dared him to. This girl in my sophomore year sent nudes to an English teacher. When he rejected her advances, she reported him for possession of child pornography. He lost his job, his teaching license, and nearly faced jail time. He was a pretty chill dude too, and was well liked by the student body. Goes without saying, the girl received a ton of death threats and ended up dropping out. How did she have his number to send them? For some strange reason, giving out personal phone numbers to students wasn't frowned upon in my high school, and some teachers would specifically print out their cell phone number on their class syllabus. Many years ago I sat next to a kid in high school who went on to kill his mom. He would always bring in photos of homemade bombs from 2-liter bottles, flamethrowers from squirt guns, etc. I thought it was the coolest thing and was so impressed by it until later on when I recognized I was encouraging a to-be murderer to keep being violent. It's not your fault. A girl was coming back from a doctor's appointment and wasn't there to hear that we couldn't get out equipment for recess. She opened the door, grabbed something and went to leave. The wind kicked up and slammed the door on her hand and she lost a finger. They rushed her to the hospital and they sewed it back on and eventually it was back to normal, but that was the most f***ed up thing I had seen. I actually remember that happening to someone in the daycare my mom put me in. Needless to say, I didn't stay in that daycare for very long. A girl had diarrhea and was wearing tights and sitting in class, and the tights started getting really lumpy, but she didn't get up to go to the bathroom. What the f***? Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, write something on this topic, and also do not forget to watch our other videos. Bye.